Hi, I'm Andre. I'm a black nerd from Black Nerd Comedy, also with CoinOp TV, and I'm talking with the man. So a guy, you remember him from Ghostbusters and Oz. Now he's got a new movie out called Doonby. ErnieHudson. How you doing, Ernie?
I'm doing fine, Andre. Doing great, man.
Doing great. All right. So why don't you tell us about your new movie? I was checking the website out, and it seems pretty interesting. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, it's called Doonby, and it's about, I think, relationships, how we impact the lives of each other without, most of the time we don't even know it. You know, I think the movie It's a Wonderful Life dealt with that in a, not a similar way, but also I think addressed how the power of how we are to each other. And my character is a blues man who, you know, has to come to a choice between, you know, being on the road, the thing he loves most, and settling down with the woman that he loves. And so he decides to open up this nightclub in this little town, and it's like the local bar, and his relationship with the people. And the Doonby character comes, and he befriends him, gives him a job, and so it's about their relationship. But it's really about relationships and choices we make, most of the time unconsciously, but that have huge impacts on our lives later on.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life, because I guess in that movie, that character didn't want to be around and saw what happened when he wasn't around. But it seems like in Doonby, from what I could tell from the description, is like he comes into town, but then when he leaves, because people suspect him of various things, and that's when a lot of problems start to take place, right?
Yeah, sometimes people come in our lives, and we don't know why they're there, and most of them we never realize why they're there. We just knew that we knew this person at some point, but we don't realize that they may be there preventing or other things that might have happened which could have been worse. And so, you know, a friend wants you to pick them up in your car, and you kind of go, man, this sucks. And you pick them up, but maybe had you not picked them up, God knows you might have had an accident or something.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know those things, but we all play that kind of interwoven part. We're all connected, and it's hard to appreciate. Now, if we had a chance to look and see what the alternative would have been, we might appreciate it more, but we don't have that choice. And the wonderful thing about movies is we can look at those things, you know. And I love relationship movies because I think it tells us a lot about, you know, about ourselves, you know. So, yeah, I think the movie tries to address it. Obviously, it's sort of a big issue, but yeah, we do. We are very, very, very important to each other. But I think most of the time we don't realize it.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a film location connection. I did an independent film a few years ago. It was actually filmed in the same place, Smithville, Texas. What was that?
Oh, yeah.
What was that like? Because I always, when people ask me about that area, because I used to live in Austin,
right.
Smithville has a very distinct nature to it. Did you notice that?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because, I mean, first off, when I got there, they put me way out in the middle of nowhere, which I thought was really kind of weird, in some house that, I mean, I couldn't even find. I mean, if I had to call an emergency, I wouldn't even know where to tell them. It didn't even have an address. It was on some lake. It was, like, very weird. And I'm like, no, I can't stay here. So they brought me into town. They put me up at a bed and breakfast, and actually right across the street from where we were shooting. Uh-huh. And I liked the little small town quaintness of it. And then I met a judge. He's a black judge, and through him I went to the other side of town,
right,
across the tracks, you know, and I met a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And I realized just that whole dynamic, you know, the black side, the white side, and then there's the overall connected thing that we're all sort of trying to sort of reach out now and extend. So it was, but everybody was very cool, no matter who, you know, everybody was very, very cool, and I realized that as long as I didn't bring my stuff into the equation, it was actually a really pleasant experience. So, but I also knew there was a lot of history going on there that I really wasn't totally aware of. So I had a great time. I had a good time.
Yeah, that was the interesting part. Like, everyone seems to be nice to you there. It's a very quaint town, but people always make that phrase of the other side of the tracks, and like there, it's literal.
It's literally the other side of the tracks, and there was like this fence that ran down the track, so you couldn't actually. Like the judge was telling me that, you know, once upon a time you could just walk across the tracks and you're right into town. But they ran this fence there so that the people on that side of the tracks can't get into town without going a long way down and around. And I thought, and this is America, and we've made some weird choices, and I'm hoping that we can look at it and undo some of that stuff, because some of that stuff is pretty stupid, and I don't even know who it serves, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, it is a track, and on one side of the track you get, it is very different, and that was also the history of it. I mean, I guess Smithville was at one point a really popular place, especially for blacks, and to go to, and so I went along the strip where it used to be clubs and stuff that is no longer there, but. So I found it very, very interesting. But once again, everybody's really very cool.
Yeah, it was a great place to hang out.
Yeah, for a minute.
Well, of course, you've done some iconic stuff in the past. You've done a Ghostbusters movie. I, obviously, growing up, watching that, seeing a black man fighting some ghosts, I was like, yeah, I can relate. Thank you, So, and I always thought you spoke for the people as well, so that was always great. But you've done a lot of work. Like, I've seen your IMDb credits. I've seen a lot of stuff that you've been in. Has that ever been a problem for you? Like, do you find a blessing and a curse to, like, be in this really iconic movie, but then people ask you stuff like, what you doing now? It's like, I've done a lot. Smack.
Well, yeah, it's always, I think, a little awkward for an actor. I mean, not just me, I think anybody, because you can just, you can be in a hit movie, but people always want to know, well, so what's happening now? People, have you retired? Are you still doing it? Are you still whatever? You kind of go, what? I mean, it's like, I saw you on TV last night, but are you still working? It's like, people, I think they want to connect, and they come up with some really strange things that kind of come out of their mouths. But Ghostbusters was great. There were a lot of the black films that kind of came out that I really, the SpikeLee stuff and the John Singleton stuff that I was never. I didn't get a chance to be a part of, and I never quite understood that. So a lot of times people say, well, how are things in Hollywood? I go, well, things in Hollywood are what's in Hollywood, but, it was very hard for me to complain because the movies that I was working were not necessarily the black films, and it would have been great to just work.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be more involved, especially when in films that reflected all sides of life, I, for example, never worked a TylerPerry movie.
Right.
Not say I'm jumping up and down, but I just love to work, and I find it very odd that most of the work I've done is not been a part of that.
Do you find that sometimes what happens? I hate to use the word like token black character, but it's like if you find that you somehow do a couple of those films, it's hard for you to jump back and forth for some reason. They don't see you in the majority.
Well, it's not hard for me, but it may be hard, and I don't think in terms of the major media, but I think for a lot of the black filmmakers, they may look at me and saying, oh, well, he did that, so he's not somehow part of something else.
Oh.
And I go, what? I mean, Spike's doing a movie, so I can't get an interview with Spike Lee? What is that about? I mean,
right.
And so I'm not sure what it plays in people's minds, because, none of it is based on any kind of reality, so it's all about what somebody thinks and thought, and what should have been, could have been, ought to be, and none of that is real.
Right.
It's real because we make it real. So, I don't understand. How I've never actually had an interview with John Singleton. That seemed very, very odd to me. Or how I've never, just some of that I kind of go, but I don't understand. Part of what we do is to build enough of a profile so that we can bring something. If they're doing a black film, then, to be involved with anybody who's, doing creative work, but somehow it doesn't get interpreted that way, and I don't understand that. And then, but people think of it sometimes as a personal choice. Oh yeah, well, see, Ernie, you worked a lot of films, but you don't do the black movies. I kind of go, what? I don't do the black movies. I'm like, I just want to work.
Right.
I don't,
No, sir. ErnieHudson doesn't do the black films.
Yeah, he'll do the black thing. Say what?
Right.
You just do the everyman, but you don't do the black man. What do you mean I don't do the black man? I am a black man.
That's a check.
So, I remember we were interviewing on Ghostbusters when the person came on, and one of the people said, well, how does it feel to do a colorless role? And I go, what do you mean colors? Did I lose color in the movie or something? What are you talking about? What? Because I didn't, it's weird. So, at any rate, But then we tend to get confused. I remember I did Congo, and I did the the British accent, and I meant black people were just really confused. I don't understand. How come he was talking like that? I go, because he's not from America. So we don't all sound the same. It's like
exactly.
So anyway,
and he probably some guys there. Why was a Ghostbuster in the Congo?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, what is that? I don't understand. So because people believe what they see, But not just black people. I did to be on a talk show on in MSNBC, and it was during the Clinton time when he was being indicted, and they brought me on as a warden, and I realized in the middle of the interview they actually thought I was an actual warden. And I'm like, what? I'm not a warden. I just do a TV show. So I mean, like, who did the research here? What is that about? I mean, this is a major news show.
Yeah, out of the documentary, everyone knows that.
Yeah, it's like, that's not what you say on TV. I go out, but it's a TV show. I don't say, So anyway, So anyway, that's what's happening. That's what's happening with me, man. I'm just taking it day by day and seeing what the next thing is and trying to have a good time along the way.
Well, before we wrap this up, what is next for you? Obviously, the movie itself. Is anything else coming up for you, or are the rumors of a supposed sequel true? Or
well, they've been talking about it. I mean, I'd love to see it happen, but getting the guys to agree. I mean, their relationship is like family. They love each other, but they also hate each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So getting them to agree on whatever, that's really the thing. Because I don't understand, well, let's just make a movie. What's the problem?
Yeah.
But, it never seems to be quite that simple, and I don't understand, well, why not, Hey. Everybody gets paid, we make some money, the fans want it, what's the problem?
Yeah.
That doesn't quite work that way. I do the show Secret Life of the American Teenager. I do that, a recurring thing on that, and I got I got Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
Oh, nice.
Doing the voice of a new dog, and some voiceover stuff. I'm doing an animated show that I'm not allowed to speak publicly about because they're gonna make some announcement in November.
All right.
So I just, like I said, I'm just waiting for something interesting to happen.
All right, and John Singleton, TylerPerry, SpikeLee, if you're listening, call this guy up. He wants to be
what's up? I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know why I'm apologizing. I apologize. Please forgive me. Whatever it was, I said. I didn't say it.
Awesome. Well, ErnieHudson, thank you so much. This was a pleasure talking to you, man. You're an icon to me. I appreciate all your work, and I wish you the best.
Hey, thanks so much, man. The best to you, too. Take care, son.
All right, take care.
All right, then. Bye.